Okay, 2 of my IRL friends started playing AoE4. I didn't tell you this because I didn't want you guys to get jealous, okay? Their 5th game, right? I'm on Discord with them. It's their 5th game ever. And I'm like, yo, how are you guys doing? Okay. One of them says, what do I do against Byzantine and Imperial? And I'm like, what? They're like, yeah, I don't know what to make. I'm like, didn't you just start playing? They're like, yeah. Then the next question was, how do I kill a keep? I have Trebuchet, but I have Springles. How do I do that? And I said, okay, hold on. I gave them tips, right? I gave them some advice. And I said, okay, I'm going to go play a game with you. I'm going to show you what both of you should do for the next couple of days or weeks until you learn the basics of the game. Okay? These guys they're platinum in 2v2 now. Okay? And I said, let's play a team game. And I said, okay, this is what you're going to do. So one of them was Rus, one of them was English. And I said, you're only going to make longbows. And I told the other guy, you're only going to make knights. And they're like, oh, is that strategy good? Because our strategy was I defend with spearman and longbow, and he goes imperial, and then he makes knights. This is like this is Gold League, right? This is new players. And I'm like, no, you do not go 1 TC imperial rush with Rus in team games. That's not. They're like, yeah, but it worked. I'm like, no, you can't do that. You have to stop. Like right now, you have to stop. And I said, okay, what do we do? So I said, okay, let's go. And then I showed them how to play Rus English in 2v2. We played 3v3, but I just played a Knight Civ too. Because they were like, at one point in that long game, they wanted to leave because they were like, this is boring. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And I said, yeah, because you're in a part of the game where you don't even know what the units look like. So I said, from now on, what you guys should do if you want to improve, you need to play feudal only and only age up when you have so much economy that you can age up while producing units out of 3 stables. We played a game and they said, okay, this makes more sense. And I said, why? And I said, well, because we know what we're supposed to do. We understand the strategy. We understand what we're supposed to attack. And you know what happened? They went from like silver or gold in team games to platinum in a day. Okay? In 1 day. Why? Because they knew what they're supposed to do. They asked me about something for Imperial. I said, you don't need that. Okay? If you don't win a game until mid to late castle, leave the game and go again. You're wasting your time. If you want to improve. If they want to just have fun and play the game, who gives a fuck, right? Stay in and waste your time. If you want to improve, just leave and go again. It's completely pointless for you as a new player to play Imperial when you don't even know all the civilizations, okay? And now they've played games, right? They feel like they understand the strat, and you know what they're doing? They're like, you know what? I'm gonna try some more civs to see maybe I like another civ. And I was like, that's a good idea. Figure out maybe you like something else. But guess what they stopped doing? They stopped asking me about what to do in Imperial because they both realized, yeah, that is actually fucking stupid to ask because we don't know the basics of the game. And you know why they improved that fast? Because they listened. They didn't say, well, actually, I like to play Imperial. That's cool, but you don't even know how to play Feudal. You know what advice I gave them? If you want to play Imperial, if you want to learn an Imperial, go play Nomad. That's a great mode. You can go in there, you play Imperial, you can boom, you can figure out units, you can do whatever you want. But my suggestion is if you're playing team ranked or one-on-one, just stick to basics for now. You need to understand. You know, I was like, you don't understand anything. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Don't ask yourself, yeah, hey, all my games go to Imperial. How do I improve Imperial? Ask yourself, why the fuck do your games go to Imperial? Why do all your games end up in Imperial? What's the reason for that? See, this game, I'm not asking, yo, how do I deal with Delhi when he captures 3 sacred sites? Don't let him capture 3 sacred sites. How about that? I've seen that question too. How do I deal with HRE when they get 5 relics? Why does HRE have 5 relics? Let's figure that one out. Hey, Beastyqt, the second improvement, I'm high plat 3, diamond 1. I struggle feudal rushes, but I can win castle. Do you also recommend me trying to focus more on feudal as well? I'm decent with micro, bad with macro. Then it's okay. Can follow builders properly. How can I improve? You're either playing too greedy or you're playing a castle rush civ. Which one is it? You're playing castle rush civs? I mean, there's your thing, right? Like, the thing is, if you're playing one civ or multiple civs and you don't like fighting in feudal, right? You like fighting in castle or whatever. That's your thing. And you know how to get there. Then do that, right? But if you rush castle and then the game goes to imperial, then you're doing something wrong. Or not something wrong, but if every majority of the games are ending in imperial, then, you know. But my opinion is that whenever you play AoE 4, you should learn every part of AoE 4. You should learn feudal, you should understand Dark Age. I know it's like, haha, Dark Age. A lot of people don't understand it. They don't know what's going on. They don't know why you're going certain build. Like, I guarantee you 90% of you, when they see a barracks opening, you don't know how to adjust properly. First of all, majority of you don't even scout for barracks opening. Majority of you don't even know which civs can open barracks opening depending which civ you are, right? Look at it this way, right? This is D, Dark Age, okay? You have a base right here, you're red. You have berries, you have gold. This is your opponent. They're making barracks. The matchup is English versus Abbasid and they're opening men-at-arms. Number one thing, majority of you will not scout for potential barracks in that matchup. I know you might think you do, you don't, right? Because there's way too many people getting fucked by Dark Age rushes. So the first thing you do is when you play against civ that can Dark Age rush, you need to immediately beeline to their base and see if there's a barracks. If there's not, you go back, okay? If you do see a barracks here, you see it being built, the man-at-arms not out, what do? You have 6, 7 villagers here, okay? 7 here. You have nothing on gold. What do? Tower gold, tower walls, everyone to gold, mine gold, nothing, drop food, get gold. See, this is what I mean, right? Some of you are correct, but look how many people don't know this. This is Dark Age. You know what I mean? The game cannot, this is like a math problem 2 plus 2, okay? And majority of the people in the chat don't know. And that's okay, right? What you should do is you should try to learn. That's what's important. And when you get given advice, don't dismiss it because you know better. You don't, right? You don't. Anyway, the answer is, you beeline, you see the barracks. Men-at-arms will come in about, men-at-arms build pretty quickly. Let's say the barracks is already done. The men-at-arms will arrive in about 30 seconds. What you need to do is immediately take 5 villagers from these 7, build a mining camp, get gold. They will take 2 trips, okay? And then you run them back on food and the men-at-arm opener is dealt with. That's it. That's it. People that said build a tower. For what? You don't need gold. You're in Dark Age. You just need to age up. That's your whole goal. And if you do this, then the opponent is suddenly not at a disadvantage because that's just an opener, but the game is in a neutral state again. And now you're like, yeah, but I wanted to castle rush and now I can't. Yes, you can. Let's say you're Ayubid. Okay, let's say you're Ayubid. This is your House of Wisdom. You go for military wing, right? You take the 5, right? You go back on food. You age up. Desert Raider comes out, pushes back the man-at-arm. Meanwhile, instead of you mining gold here like you normally would, you chop wood. You get enough wood for 2 towers. And you put, instead of putting 5 on gold to rush castle, you put 10. Because the 5 villagers were on food the whole time while you were aging up and not on gold. Which means now you need to compensate for the economy by putting more on gold in order to rush it for the castle at the same time. It's simple math. And nothing has happened. And when you calculate everything, he lost age up timing. He has a later age up. He lost some economy because he went man at arm. You lost some economy because you had to run back and forth. But if both players play correctly, the game will more or less end up in the same spot. You will end up where you're supposed to be at 6 minutes. That's just the Dark Age. There's so many intricacies with Dark Age. Like, that's the most basic one. It's English men at arm against whatever civ, it doesn't matter. And there's so many matchups in the game. And I don't mean like you need to play every civilization versus every civilization to know. I'm talking your one civ has 16 civilization matchups, and a lot of them can barracks rush you. For example, that was English, right? Let's say it was Ottoman. We're in Dark Age again. The Ottoman builds military school. What is the response? Military school is coming, right? What is the response? Depending on the civ, more or less nothing. Nothing, okay? The spearmen will arrive at some point on your gold. You have two choices. You can either send your workers back to wood or food in order to get an archer out or whatever to deal with the men at arms, or if you're Chad, what you could also do is you can just kill the spearmen with your villagers and not like A move and let it chase them, but whenever a spearman comes here to attack, you take the two villagers and you A move it and you deal some damage. The Ottoman spearmen build very slow, so you can actually deal with them by attacking if you really want gold for some reason, right? That's just, again, that's just one explanation. Like that's against Ottoman. Then you have, I don't know, what other civ can do Dark Age rushes? Mongol, right? What do you do when Mongol tower rushes you? Let's use all the same example of Abbasid, right? Or Ayyubid, because that's like the most vulnerable civ, Abbasid. What do? Mongol, you see it, they're tower rushing. What do? You don't do anything. You mine the gold that you need to age up because the spearmen will not arrive enough in time. Maybe you'll need to pull one extra villager. So instead of having 7 and then 3, you'll have 7 and then you'll have +1, 4. You'll get 200 gold, okay? Spearmen will come, tower comes. What do? You don't do anything. You can't pull the villagers to defend the tower, but that's very risky. What you do is you go back, chop wood. You leave 4 on food to produce villagers. This is your House of Wisdom. You go military wing. When the units come out, you should chop 2-3 trees around your TC and you immediately make a ram. Once you make a ram, you put the 4 units inside and you kill the tower. You don't need to make production buildings. And if the stone is in the back... Oh, okay, that's not going to work, I guess. If the stone is in the back, you don't need to make more units. You can, if you want to go to TC, you can already go to TC. Okay, you can already do this while doing the ram. See what I mean? And this is Dark Age, by the way. This is all, we're still in Dark Age. We haven't aged up yet. Do you see the amount of permutations and examples and possibilities that can happen? You can have, what other civ can rush in Dark Age? I mean, I guess OTD and H3 can do it too, but it's less popular. The OTD Dark Age rush sucks ass because the rushing is so expensive, it's just not worth it. JD Tower Rush? JD Tower Rush is like a budget Mongol Tower Rush. Everything I've explained so far, okay? What happens if the gold is here and your wood line is here and here? What happens then? Everything I just said can be played completely differently. It can be completely different, right? You can do all the responses I just told you. You can do other ways of defending. Let's make it even better, Spawn, actually. Let's say your goal is here, and you have a wood line here, the far one, and the close one is like here. Let's imagine this is the edge of the map is closer. Depending which civ you play, let's say I play HRE. I can also, instead of building a mining early and then having to build a RAM, what I can also do is do this. And suddenly, the tower rush is not possible, right? Do I do this against Ottoman? No, because then the Ottoman shit becomes even worse. But against Mongol, suddenly you have a possibility to not need to make RAM, to not need to move out of gold, and then the Mongol player is fucked. Because the Mongol player decides to go for a tower rush before the tower rush starts, before the game starts, because they have to chop wood immediately. So you can make some adjustments like that. If you're playing against like whatever civ, it doesn't matter. What you need to do is, depending which civ you're playing, like whether you're playing English, okay, English is not going to get rushed in Dark Age. Whether you're playing French, or you're playing Abbasid, or you're playing Ayyubid, or you're playing HRE, or fucking, what other civs are there? Delhi. All these civs have completely different response to all these rushes. All these civs have different responses. Do you know why they have different responses? It's because they have different tools. That's really it, okay? So, what civs do we have? Let's see. Okay, you have Malian, okay? Rus is not gonna get tower rushed. Ottoman is not gonna get tower rushed. OTD same like HRE, JD same like French. China, okay? China, Japanese, and Biz. See, this is the beautiful part about RTS games. Are you ready? One Mongol player has to know what to do against all these civs in Dark Age, because all these civs have a different response, right? Abbasid and Ayyubid should let you finish the tower and then they will ram you, okay? French and JD can let you finish the tower and just go second town center without gold. If you tower rush the stone instead of gold, you can then go knight archer immediately and counter push on the Uvu. So they will usually push on Uvu once the tower goes up. They will usually ignore the tower and they will not even make a ram. Eventually, when they have enough cavalry, they're just gonna go kill the tower. Abbasid and Ayyubid will immediately kill it. Then you have Malian that can actually open barracks, and Donzos will kill spearmen in Dark Age. Malian is actually one of the best civs at dealing with Mongol in Dark Age because they can throw spears and they can trade better against Mongol. So they're very unique. China and Jushi can both make barracks and supervise it to make spearmen, okay, in order to defend. Japanese can, the Japanese has to get gold and get out. They can also like attempt to, Japanese probably has one of the harder times dealing with this, okay? So I'll do a little like this. But they have their own unique response, right? They have to fucking, you know, age up and run away or try to snipe the tower or something, right? And they can maybe play with walls, do wall off sections so the Mongol can get in. Byzantine, they can activate Cistern, and when the tower's nearing completion, they can just kill this fucking spearman with the villagers. This villager will kill the spearman because of the Cistern activation. I think it's called accretory defense. So Byzantine doesn't need to rush feudal. They don't need to steer about gold. They can just kill the tower rush with the villagers. Then you have HRE and OTD, right? Which have two responses. Number one response, they can actually pull 5 villagers or 6 villagers and fight the villager on the tower with prelate because they can heal, right? Or they can let you do the tower. You can get pillage, actually. Is it called pillage? No, it's not called pillage. What is it called? The one that gives you bonus HP. You can upgrade that, and then you can throw in the fucking torch. Oh yeah, OTD has no prelate. OTD, the best way you can do it, and by the way, HRE can do this too. You can just open barracks. Textiles, right. I don't know why I called pillage. OTD can open barracks in Dark Age and defend with that. Same thing with HRE. Or they can just mine the gold quickly and get out. And then you have Delhi, which you don't even need gold. You just age up. You can get extra 130 gold if you want for another prelate or scholar. And then when the spearmen arrive, you know what you do? one scholar can out-heal 2 spearmen. So your villagers can just mine gold. You heal them, you get enough, and you get out. And you don't do anything. And then you have, that's a good point. You have mirror match, which is Mongol versus Mongol. In which, funnily enough, there is no tower rush. Because if both players are playing correctly, both players should be making spearmen. And if both players make spearmen, you cannot make a tower. Because if you invest resources into making a tower, and the opponent invests resources into making spearmen, they will have more spearmen, so your tower will never go up. Now again, I want to emphasize, why am I talking about this? We started talking about this because someone asked the question, how do they play the game in Imperial? My question to you, do you know how to deal with all 16 civilization in Dark Age with your civ? The answer is most likely no. Learn that first. And once you learn that, learn Feudal. Now, Dark Age, in the grand scheme of things, right? If you have a learning curve, this is start, okay? This is Dark Age. You see this piece right here? That's knowledge in Dark Age. And then you have, let's say, Imperial is this. So if you don't know this, how do you think you're gonna get to this? It doesn't make any sense. You gotta learn, you gotta go from the start. There's a pattern right here. This is castle. You have to learn slowly. Once you learn the Dark Age, try to learn Feudal. And you know what the best way to learn the game is? Not just AV4, any game. Is you need to ask yourself, oh, I'm playing against a Mongol on whatever map. Do I know what to do? If you don't know what to do, that's your problem. Not like how to deal with Mongol in Castle or Imperial. You don't... The basics of the matchup is something you don't know. Start with that. And then once you learn that, like let's say the tower stuff that I just showed you, that I just told you about, once you learn that, then you're like, okay, cool. Then the Mongol starts trading. And then you say, okay, how do I deal with trade Mongol? You don't say, how do I deal with Mongol in Imperial that has 100 traders and he's getting 4k gold per minute? It's too late, right? Why did you get to that point? Back it up. You know, a lot of people are asking questions here instead of asking the question here. What happened here? Let's say here you got rid of the tower. What happened from here all the way to there? A lot of people skip, right? A lot of people, when they analyze their games in AV4 when they're learning, they always go to the point of losing, to the point of surrendering. Do you know what I mean? They go to, we both had 200 supply, but he had 100 traders, and I couldn't beat that. That's not why you lost, right? Try to find a point. If this is your game, right? You're both even. You're both even. You're both even. What happened here? This is the question. What happened here? Right here. That's what you should analyze. Not like down there and you're like, oh, I lost because this happened. No, no, no. You lost because this happened. This is where everything started. And that's what you need to figure out. Same thing for improving. If the game was even and you got ahead and then you threw, you gotta ask, what happened here? Why did I get ahead? And then what the fuck happened here? Does that make sense? This is what, like, a lot of people always ask for, like, the top rated players for them to point out the most basic mistakes that you can do yourself. Okay? You need to identify. It's very simple, by the way. Most of the stuff you can see through the worker count even. If you're on 20 workers, 20 workers, he's on 20 workers. Okay, good. You're both same same 1TC, 1TC. Then you're 25 workers. He's 27. What happened? Did you have idle time when you're TC? Okay, then write that down, put it in a note, make sure to produce workers constantly, improve that next time. Next game, Same thing, 25-27. What happened? You lost 2 villagers. Right here. Why did you lose 2 villagers? Was your wall too late? Was your tower too late? Did you miss micro? Did you not see something? Were your spearmen not on time? Right? That's what you need to look at. Not... Like, this is, I feel like, how most players in lower leagues analyze their games, right? Worker count is 25-37, right? And then army is like 30 versus 50. They lose the battle, and they say, how am I supposed to beat longbows? He could have killed you with everything at that point. Doesn't matter. Like, this is irrelevant information. The game is over at that point. What happened here? That's what you should be asking yourself. But this is what most people look at, and they just completely fail to analyze why they lost the game. And I don't mean this like I'm a god and I don't want to coach a noob, but this is what people ask me to coach them. Like, you go through a replay and then you get to a point and there's like 60 French knights and there's like 12 spearmen. It's like, how do I counter French knights? Bro, you got 12 spearmen. Nobody can beat that at that point, right? You let the guy make 60 knights. What happened, right? So this is what people need to learn, how to analyze their games and how to learn in a game. You don't need like someone to babysit you and tell you why you lost. Open a replay, open your fucking eyes, right? I'll give you an example. I just played a game, right? I'll give you an example. This is a quick game. You gotta look. You gotta be honest with yourself, okay? Stop coping that it's English that's OP. That's the one that I see most common. English is OP. Longbows are OP. Knights are OP. Men-at-arms are OP. Guess what? As you go through the leagues, as you improve, you're gonna find out that every civ is OP if the enemy is better than you. The only thing you can change is how you deal with whatever your enemy is doing. Look at this game. This is me playing H3 against Delhi. We'll go back to it in a second. So that's the most important part. Try to learn the Dark Age, try to learn the Feudal Age, then try to learn the Castle Age. Then be like, yo, I got Feudal down, I got Castle down, I'm just struggling in Imperial, I don't know what my goal is. That's a correct question. What is my goal in Imperial? Not, how do I kill a keep? If you don't know how to kill a keep, then you skip this class. Because you learn how to kill keeps in Castle. If you don't know how to kill a keep in Imperial with bombards, then you got bigger problems than a keep, okay? Now, this game, let's look at point of view from Delhi. Orange is me, Delhi is Delhi. Arc. The game is even right now. This is the matchup where Delhi has to put pressure on HRE or they will lose to the Men-at-Arms mass. They have to block the gold, they have to block the wood, food, something. They're on a timer, okay? They gotta do something. I'm having hiccups. Okay, some idle time, not bad, that was good. So if there was a line of advantage, that would be a little spike up, or very little, but that's a spike up, that's a good move. Now what are we doing here? Why is he going there? Why is he not doing it again? You know what I would do? This is unprotected. I would take all these units and dive the tower. Force the HRE to do emergency repair. Force the HRE to not mine gold. If HRE doesn't mine gold, the upgrades would be down to shitter. Right? 3 villagers would be idle. 3 villagers under chapel. But he decides to go to the middle. What are these units doing? They're not doing anything. Now on the other side, not only his units were inactive, but he manages to lose 2 villagers. This, at the top level, 2 villagers losing at 7 minutes is massive, okay? So, what did he fail? He couldn't put pressure on the tower. He failed to track where my horsemen were. He knew there was horsemen. Nobody makes horsemen to defend. You make horsemen to harass. He lost track of my horsemen. That's his mistake. His mistake isn't fucking later on. He's already 2 mistakes down. And now he's chasing these horsemen. Why is he chasing them? Why? He is Delhi. There's nowhere I can harass. This is safe under TC. This is safe. I'm not gonna dive the TC with 3 horsemen. These Ghazi Raiders running here is a complete waste of time. They're not doing anything. And now he's gonna realize and be like, oh, I actually have spearmen. And now he's gonna send them across the map. And by the time he comes across the map, I have +1. I have a tower upgraded. And I'm gonna start making barracks already. So he's done 0 damage with his Ghazi Raiders. In a matchup where he's supposed to do damage, I have done more damage to him. Okay? Now, let's look further. Walling, get poggers. Sacred side. He lost another worker here. I lost a horseman. That's worth for me though. 3 workers down. Look at the idle time. Boom. Another mistake. He had spearmen here. He had 3 spearmen. And then he moved them to the middle. Because, why? He didn't track again. He lost track of the horsemen. He has no idea where they were. I came in, I kill a villager. 3 workers down. And some idle time. Now, he's capturing the sacred side. Why is he not capturing another one? If he is going for sacred side victory capture, or that's his way to putting pressure, you need to capture them immediately. Right? You don't just half-ass capture one. Now, everything he did so far is going straight down. Nothing was good so far. Okay? Now that's a good move. Look at that. Look at that. And now, we're back to equal. Right? Maybe not equal. I put him in an advantage now. 4 villagers killed. Big idle time. He got 1 sacred site. So, equal economy, but he's got sacred site. So he'll get more income per minute. Although I'm still under chapel, but I'm about to run out of food. That's good. This should be here already. This scholar should be here already. If he captured 3 sacred site and put him in a 10-minute timer, his chance of winning increases massively. But instead, what does he do? Instead of capturing both, he's just gonna capture 1 by 1, and there's no victory condition for him. Which means that the game is going on into later feudal, where I'm favored. And what am I doing? I'm just buying myself time. I'm just harassing. I'm just buying myself time. I just lost 4 villagers. I don't want to lose more. I have some units here a little bit defensive, trying to, defend while I see what's going on. I think I saw his Ghazi Raiders move up. Yep, I see his Ghazi Raiders here. So now, because his Ghazi Raiders are there, I can try to maybe move from this side onward. I can try to go harass the food. I can go scout around, see if anything is open for harassment. But in this situation, I am back to a very, very good spot because the sacred site capturing is too slow. Shit should have been captured at 9 minutes, all 3 of them. And now, he's spread out too thin. He's trying to make way too many walls and not enough units. Ghazi Raiders are again lost in space somewhere. Who knows where. They're not doing anything. And now, we're entering a point where he is not gathering food. Because I sent few units here to deny. Now he's got idle time. And his food income is 0. And this is the game-winning move. That's it. It doesn't matter if I lose this whole army. Because he has no income. So at this point, I'm printing. 2300 food. I'm printing units. Look at that. Doesn't matter. I can trade 2 of my units for 1 and I'll still win this game. And that's it. He's going to tap out. Now let me tell you. What you just saw in feudal age. From the knowledge point of view. A lot of this is very small, high-level stuff. But that was like a very basic game. That was a very basic game. Very few decisions being made. That's this. All on the feudal stuff you've just seen. Or here, we haven't seen yet. Everything I just showed you in that game. All the mistakes. In the grand scheme of things. Right? Is very basic. Very basic. There was like no micro there. Right? There's no archer knight micro. There was no... charges, lancers, managing economy, taking control of the map, none of that. That's all here. But even in that game, where not much happens, right? and okay, let me tell you now a gold level player analysis. And you know, I love my gold players, but let me tell you my gold level player analysis. I killed like 4 workers from HRE, and then I just lost to men-at-arms because they're unbeatable in feudal. How do I beat men-at-arms? Men-at-arms are OP. You know, so you can see 2 sides of the coin. Now, you can always say, yeah, one, like it's a lot easier to make men-at-arms than to be Delhi and do all these things. And I agree with that. I think it's harder to play Delhi in that matchup. And I think HRE is favored. Doesn't mean it's 100% winner, but it is favored. But if you think that your Civ is too hard to play for you, that's why we have 16 Civs. Just play something easier. If that's the main reason you think you're losing, try something easier, right? Not every Civ is for everyone. But one thing that you should know is if you play Delhi or HRE or China or English, and you think that an other Civ has it easier because I don't know, English is easier because they have longbow and feudal, right? Or French is easier because they have knights. All the Civs have their problems, right? All the Civs. Malian has their own problems. Ottoman has their own problems. Rooster has their own. JD, Jushi Legacy. So, swapping Civs because X or Y is easier and I'm just playing a hard Civ can work, right? Maybe you're better at maintaining map control than macroing, right? So some other Civ might fit you better, playstyle-wise. But every Civ has their own problems and has their own weaknesses and has their own strengths. And if you don't know how to use your Civ strength, then that's the real issue. Anyway, if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you so much for watching. Appreciate you. Check me out on Twitch. I'm probably live right now. Twitch gamers. Let's keep going.